Hello everyone, welcome back. So today, last time, maybe I should start with that. Last time we went out and explored, we started somewhere over there and we came this way. And then I came over here. Is the sun going down? Yeah, it's going down. And we found this cave down here. And we're probably going to go back down there soon because I need more redstone. That's why. And then we came up here and we built a hut and we tried out the redstone a little bit. And that's basically a nice summary of everything we did so far. But today, I really want to start building this redstone computer. And to do that, I need to find a place to do it, and I need a lot more redstone. So I guess there's two steps. Since the sun's going down, I think I'm going to go into the cave. So I'm going to clean up my inventory first. Okay, I'm ready. I got my stuff. And here's what this looks like. Oh, whoa. Wait, let's try that again. How did that happen? I don't know. It's weird. Anyways, that's what this stuff looks like. Let's go down into the cave. I yearn for the mines. Alright, let's start by mining this stuff, I guess. Holy crap, that's terrifying. I don't want to go up there. Wherever that is. So slow. I found a future cave to explore. I don't want to go in there today, though. Let's just focus on mining what we got. A lot of scary stuff in there. Here comes someone. Spooky. Buddy, come over here. Yeah. Okay. Oh man, that's a lot of jumping. But diamonds! Diamonds! Holy crap. Okay, this is another cave to explore eventually. I don't want to today. Let's mine this iron though. Okay, but what we really care about are these guys. 3, okay. 5. Oh wow. And you wouldn't believe this. There's some stuff over here, but I'll do that in a sec. Lava. But there's also... Where is it? Did I lose it? Oh, no. There it is. There's more diamonds over here. Ooh, that could be dangerous. That would have been bad. Okay. That's all the diamonds I found. I don't feel safe in here. Like, no matter how much I light it up and how much I look around. I've been snuck on too many times down here. And it's weird because I've been doing a lot of caving and I've been playing a lot of modern Minecraft too, which I hope something to come out of that for the YouTube channel eventually. And in that survival world, I've been doing a lot of caving, and it's nowhere near as scary. Like, I'm kind of just running through and I'm not really scared about dying. I guess part of the reason why I'm so scared is because I don't want to have to go get my stuff back. I need to light this up. But another reason is because, I mean, I'm a lot more powerful. I can sprint away. Monsters don't hit as hard. I have a lot better armor. But here I feel kind of naked, like, and hopeless. But I am getting a lot of stuff. Like, look at all this. 41, 10 diamonds, all this redstone. I'm doing pretty good for myself. But finding all the ore is hard. I was over here at one point. I don't remember where all the stuff was, so maybe I already mined it all. Yeah, that would do it. There's so many different directions though this cave goes off to. I don't want to explore the whole thing right now. So maybe I just mine out what's left. I don't have a clue where I'm at. Ooh. Gosh, this is what I mean. exactly what I mean. Like, I'm just minding my own business, I let my guard down, and something sneaks up on me. And a single zombie can kill you. Like, they're so quiet. It's not like they're growling all the time. And you move at the same speed as they do. Luckily, their pathfinding's terrible. If their pathfinding was as good in this as it was in modern versions, I don't know what I would do with my life. But luckily, their pathfinding's bad, and it makes it easier for me to run away. Hello, buddy. What do you want? Do you have like a fun thing you want to show me? See, this is what I mean by bad pathfinding. They don't know what they can jump. They'll be able to figure it out when they start jumping randomly, but... here he comes. There we go. Dead. Where are all these guys coming from? They're dropping from the sky somewhere. Maybe over here? I don't know. I don't have a clue where they're coming from. It's dangerous wherever it is. Oh. That's probably where they're coming from. Yeah, that's dangerous. I don't know, maybe I'll light it up a little bit, that way I can see. I can't really do anything about that. Without going up there. Yeah. That's spooky. Crap. Luckily I have armor. That jerk. A zombie. It's a freaking zombie. I was just sitting over here minding my own business, and then this guy... Goodness. I'm gonna leave him. I can't do this anymore. I've been attacked. I've been jumped so many times. Let's just leave. Oh man. Please tell me that's not a zombie. It's a pig? Okay. A pig. Free food. Okay. So, we're home. And we have 4 stacks of redstone, plus the 2 I left here. So that should be enough to get us started on something. Now what is that something? Well, we're gonna have to figure out where it's gonna be first, before I know what it is. Okay, I think it's time. Let's make a thing. I don't know if I've ever made one of those yet. I probably have. But they don't last very long, which is why I haven't used them very much. It's night. I'll come back when it's day. Alright, welcome to day. Hi. Hello. Lag. Alright. Hello, sheep and pigs. I should kill the pigs so that I have food for when I'm in the caves. Pig. Come here. Boink. Okay. So I'm going to leave this redstone and stuff in there for now, because I want to figure out where I'm actually going to do all this stuff. And it's not going to be right here, because this is just like a little mining outpost. The actual redstone area will be on this island somewhere, but I do want something with a bit more space, because the land here isn't very thick. At least it doesn't feel like it's very thick. Like there's the ocean there. Where does the ocean end up over here? Yeah, there's like a lake here. I guess that's not a big deal, but I don't want to destroy something that looks nice. Then, yeah, the ocean's right there. Yeah, this isn't thick enough for what I want to do. Oh, and this actually looks pretty nice. Oh, and I do like that grass roof. Yeah. But over here actually doesn't look too bad. Let me walk over there. Yeah, this doesn't look bad at all. I like this. So maybe we'll build the redstone computer in this area, working our way that direction. Maybe at the level of this grass here, I guess. So I'm gonna have to flatten it out a little bit, but that's not gonna be too big of a deal. We have plenty of trees here for chests and stuff too. And I do have like something in mind with how I really want to build this place up. So I do want to have like a redstone mine in this location, against one of these mountains. And I also want whatchamacallit, the railway that we built. I wanted to come out here and then it go into a mountain for a little bit to look like we're going into like a mining area, and then it come out into like a storage room, which might end up being over here. I don't know. This actually looks like a nice place to bring out the railway. So, but I'm gonna have to figure out where the railway actually comes in to know where that happens. But I'm pretty sure that little pillar there is where we fought the zombies off that one night. Yeah, and I think I see torches on that hill there. So it should be, the train station should be approximately right here, somewhere in this area, but I'm not sure. We're gonna have to go back to spawn to figure that out. So I guess I'm gonna start just by flattening out an area here, so maybe I'll get back to you once we have a fairly flat area to work with. So this surprisingly didn't take very long, but we got a little area cleared out, and I'd like to start talking about redstone, and maybe even build a adder today. We're probably not going to build a whole redstone computer, obviously. Let me kill this. Okay. We're probably not going to build a whole redstone computer, but we're going to build some of one. See, look at these guys. They're messing up my demonstration. Okay, so I've already showed you guys the NOT gate, the AND gate, and the OR gate, which are what these are, in that order. No, it's not. This is the OR gate, not the AND gate. Anyways, there is something subtle about this that I haven't really mentioned. And that is that technically, this AND gate design here is actually built out of OR gates and NOT gates. Really, the only logic gates that Minecraft implements at the base level, like it has to, inside of its redstone, is the OR gate, which is just the mechanic that if you put two pieces of redstone next to each other, and then hook them up to different levers, if one's on, the adjacent one's also going to be on, right? I mean, this is the core mechanic of redstone. And then redstone torches allow there to be NOT gates. But then this AND gate, really what we're doing is we're doing an OR gate, but we're inverting both of the inputs and the output. So maybe I'll show you that real quick. So if you look over here, this torch here, what we're doing is if I turn this lever on, this torch turns off. So this is really a NOT gate. And same thing over here, this torch is also a NOT gate. And then we're powering this redstone by either this torch or this torch. So this here is an OR gate. It's just like a one block OR gate. It's not spread out like that one, but this is really an OR gate. And then this OR gate is turning off this redstone torch. So this is really another NOT gate. And what this is saying is that an AND gate is the same thing as a OR gate, where you invert both of the inputs and the output. So that's like a fun technique. And there's a bunch of other logic gates that we're going to need while building this adder, well, specifically the XOR gate, but we're going to use more in the future. And they will also be built out of OR gates and NOT gates, just like this AND gate is. The reason why I just introduced the AND gate as an AND gate is because it's a lot more fundamental than an XOR gate is. But if I want to build an adder, I actually probably should tell you what that means, and how you even implement that in Redstone. So I made some signs here. The signs are different. They actually changed in this version. So you craft them with 1 stick and 6 planks still, and you only get 1. But you can write text, and then if you keep pressing enter, it'll go down to the next line, and it'll loop. And you can also use your arrow keys to do the loop. And it's only 1 block tall now instead of 2 blocks. I very much prefer these signs, and I'm pretty sure you can also put them on walls. Yeah, Very cool. Okay, so we're going to have to take advantage of those a lot. But today I put some stuff on signs that are relevant to us today. So let's think about numbers. How do we represent a number in base 10, which is what we usually use? So the number 502, when we write that, we never really think about how we're writing it. But this number 502, I mean, ideally you learned about this in grade school. Let me kill these guys. Okay, I already did this explanation once, but I kind of sucked, so I'm going to do it again. So 502 in decimal is 5 times 100 plus 0 times 10 plus 2 times 1. And you imagine if I added another digit, let's say I did 6,502, it'd be 6 times 1,000 plus 5 times 100 plus 0 times 10 plus 2 times 1. And what you want to notice is that 1 is 10 to the power of 0, 10 is the 10 to the power of 1, 100 is 10 squared, 1,000 is 10 cubed, 10,000 is 10 to the 4th, etc. So when we write something in base 10, really what we're doing is we are multiplying the placeholder values inside of this string by the power of 10 that they represent based off their place in the string. So if I write things in binary, the only difference between decimal and binary is that in decimal I have powers of 10 here, but in binary I have powers of 2. And the powers of 2 start at 0, 2 to the power of 0 is 1, and then I have 2 to the power of 1 is 2, 2 squared is 4, 2 cubed is 8, and then it's 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, etc., etc. So if you played 2048, those are powers of 2. Also, stack sizes are usually power of 2, so if I take 64, this is 2 to the power of 7, I think, or 6, I don't know. But if I split it in half, I get 32. If I split it again, I get 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. So those are all powers of 2. And when I write 502 in binary here, this is 0 represents the 1's value, so I have 0 times 1. And then I have 1 times 2 plus 1 times 4 plus 0 times 8, etc. And that's what this represents. It's the same idea. And then we're actually going to be adding numbers, so maybe I should remind you of how elementary school addition works. I know this is thrilling Minecraft content. So if I added the numbers 502 plus 19, we already know what 502 is in binary. 19 in binary is, I mean, I guess you could figure it out on your own, but that's going to be 16 plus 3, so I'm going to have 1 in the 16th spot, and then I have 3, which is 2 and 1 together. So if I added 502 and 19 in decimal, how do we do this? Well, remember, what you do is you add the 1 spot, that's 2 plus 9, that's 11, so I put a 1 down here, and then I carry a 1, and then I add the second column, the 10 spot, and I have to add the carry to that, so I have 1 plus 0 plus 1, that's just 2. And then in the last spot, I just have a 5, so it's just 5. And I get 521 as my answer. And then the idea for binary is exactly the same thing. So if I add 0 and 1, I get 1. If I add 1 and 1, I get 2. But what's 2 in binary? It's 1, 0. So I have a carry 1 over here. And then I have 1 plus 1 here. I get 2 again, so I have a carry 1 and a 0. And then I have 1 plus 1, or 1 plus 0 plus 0. That's just going to be 1. And then the same idea carries on. So 1 plus 1 is 0, I get a carry 1. 1 plus 1 is 0, carry 1. 1 plus 1 is 0, carry 1, etc. And your final answer ends up being this. 521 in binary is going to be 512 plus, 9? 512 plus 9? Yeah, which is exactly what this is. 512 is a power of 2. And hopefully this makes sense how adding works in binary. It's just the exact same idea. And the question is, how do we actually implement this in Redstone? And the reason why we're using binary in the first place is because when I have a redstone dust, what I do is I represent 0 as off and 1 as on. And this makes it really easy to implement binary numbers, because an 8-digit binary number would just be 8 redstone lines right next to each other. And usually when we're working in binary, we call these 0s and 1s bits, and then we call 8 of them together a byte. It's just terminology you have to get used to when you're doing computer science, logic gate stuff. All right, so the principle I want to get across is that we really want to break down this problem to its simplest component. And that is, if I let a equal 0 or 1, b equals 0 or 1, what is a plus b in binary? This is the simplest version of addition. It's only a one-digit number plus a one-digit number. And this really breaks down to how simple it is. So you really want to think of things as having two inputs and two outputs when you're adding two numbers. By the way, I don't know if I ever showed you, but the signs don't stack, so that's slightly annoying. So you really want to think of it as having two inputs. You have input A and input B, and we want to output. We have two outputs. We have their sum and we have the carry digit. So we have the carry out. Maybe I'll write sum and then the carry out. All right, and our goal is to figure out what redstone we put in between here to figure out which one is on and which one's off, based off the inputs of these. Let's come back over here and think about this. So if I had two numbers, one was off and one was on, well, obviously if they're both off, if I have 0 plus 0, I'm just going to get 0. I'm not going to get a carry out, I'm not going to get a sum, it'll just be off and off. But if one of them's on, and only one of them, so if I have 0 plus 1 or 1 plus 0, I'm going to get a sum of 1, but the carry out's there's not going to be a carry out. But if they're both on, 1 plus 1, that's 2, so I'm going to get a carry out and a 0. So what that's telling me is that the carry out, which is this one, I broke the sign so I could write something, but the carry out is going to be on if both of these are on, and the sum is going to be off if if one of these is on but not both. So that's what we need. We need an AND gate for this one, and we need an XOR gate for this one. So I guess the question becomes now, how do we make an XOR gate? So this is the standard XOR gate design. And the X in XOR gate means exclusive. So this output here is going to be on if and only if exactly one of these is on. So they can't both be on. If they're both on, then this is going to be off. And it looks really complicated, and it is, because we have a NOT gate, an OR gate, a NOT gate, a NOT gate, a NOT gate, and then a NOT gate, and a NOT gate, and an OR gate. So there's a lot going on in this redstone, and this is not the best way to think about the OR gate or the XOR gate. So maybe I'll build another version that's more obvious of what's going on. But let me just demonstrate it for you real quick. So if I turn one of the outputs on, then this is going to be on. But if I turn both of them off, or both of them on, it's going to be off. And that's what the XOR gate means. What's actually happening here? Okay, so I built a XOR gate over here, but it's a lot more spread out, and it's not this design. It's different logic going into it. Ooh, did they break my redstone? Hey, freaking animals. Okay, maybe I just didn't place it. Maybe it was my fault. But they have been breaking my redstone, and it's pretty rude. So I don't know if we're going to actually be able to build the adder today. I might have to wait until the redstone gets fixed where it doesn't break when people walk on it, because I think they're just going to break the adder. Because they can spawn anywhere. They can spawn literally anywhere. Okay, so this is an XOR gate. So we have an AND gate. So the way I like to think about the XOR gate is that one of them has to be on, but not both. And this is literally what this means. So over here, I have two input levers, and they both run into an OR gate. And this OR gate is obviously going to be on if one of them's on. And if that's on, I have a little repeater here. This is how you had to do repeaters back in alpha, because there's no actual repeaters. I lost signal strength because this is 16 blocks instead of 15. But then this runs into an AND gate. And then the output of that AND gate will be on if and only if this line is off, because there's a NOT gate here, and this light's on. So I need one of them to be on. And what's this line doing? Well, this is just running both of these signals into an AND gate. It's just saying that they're not both on. So this line here is they're not both on. This one here is saying that either of them's on. And those both have to be true for the output to be off. So currently I have the bottom lever on. Note that the signal is back propagating through the OR gate. So the signal goes through here and then it goes around, which is why it's on up here. But since this is more than 15 blocks, it doesn't break the AND gate over here. And that's a worry, which is part of the reason why this one's so complicated, is because of this OR gate back propagation issue. Okay. So yeah, this is an XOR gate in an expanded form. So maybe I'll try to explain the logic behind why that OR gate that XOR gate works. So I keep trying to figure out how to explain how this XOR gate works, which I understand it. I understand how it works, but I don't understand it well enough to explain it. But the general idea is that over here I'm saying that one of them's on but not both. That's what these logic gates are saying. But over here, this guy's gonna break my redstone. He's gonna destroy my redstone. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. So what this one over here is saying is that either, so we have an OR gate at the end here, either A is on and they're not both on. We're negating the NOT gate. We're negating the AND gate. So either A is on and they're not both on, or B is on and they're not both on. And that's really what this is symbolizing. But it's not doing so in a compact way. We negate the signal, the input signal, and then we have a NOR gate here, is what these are. They're NOR gates. But I'm not going to try to go through and explain that. I tried to do this in 10 different clips, and I failed every single time. Because this thing is complicated. Hey, you're way too close to my stuff. You are also way too close to my stuff. How dare you. Did they break anything? It looks like they broke something. Oh, man. Or maybe that was never there in the first place. I don't know. Okay. But this is the XOR gate. So remember, the XOR gate is going to be the sum. And then there's an AND gate for the OR. There's an AND gate for the carryout. We already know how to do an AND gate. So we basically already built a thing that's capable of adding two numbers. Whoa. I was just destroying this because I needed more redstone to build the next thing I wanted to show you. But look at that. That's wrong. That's what the back texture looks like. Never seen that before. Oh, and then if I activate the lever, it pops off. Ooh, I need to build a little monument to that while we're in this version, while it's still broken. And so with all that being said, this is a half adder. That's what they call this then. And this is how we encode the sum of 2 bits in Redstone. So over here I have the XOR gate still, so if one of these is on but not both, then this output's going to be on, so this is the sum. And if they're both on, this AND gate's going to be on, so this is the carry out. Usually people call that a C out, which is what I wanted to say. And yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. But the important thing is that this is just a half adder. So what is a full adder? Well, when we have a column in our number, let me go back over that. So when I have a column here, sometimes there's 3 numbers. There's there's A and B, but there's also this carry in that's coming from the previous step. And so a half adder just handles these 2 numbers, but we'd like to handle all 3 of them. And the reason why it's called a half adder is because the full adder is really just 2 half adders. We just replace these 2 numbers here with the output of the half adder, and that means I'm going to have 2 numbers now. I'm going to have their sum as well as this, and then you have to figure out what if there's going to be a carry out or not. But there's just going to be a carry out if at least 2 of these is on. So you just take the carry out from this addition and this addition, and then you OR them together, and that'll give you a full adder. So maybe I'll build that. I mean, it's really just 2 of these with an OR gate. Sure, I'll build it. Okay, so this is what I meant by having 2 half adders and then an OR gate. So we have this half adder here that we talked about earlier. Then we run the output of the sum into a new half adder. And then we have our carry in here. That's what that lever is there. And so let's say I'm adding 1 plus 1 and I have a carry in that's also 1. Then what's happening is that this XOR gate, the sum, is going to be 1, 0, so I'm going to have a carry out. I'm going to have a carry out over here as 1, and the sum is going to be 0, so this is going to be off, which is what we see. But when I add the carry in, then I run it into a new adder, and so this is going to be on if the XOR gate, the first XOR gate's output was off, which it is, or the carry and the carry in is on, which is what's happening. So the XOR gate's going to be on because the carry in's on, but the XOR gate here is off. But over here, this AND gate is going to be off because they're not both on. The XOR gate's off. But I ran it into an OR gate, which is what this thing is at the end, which is saying that this is going to be on. The output over here is going to be on if the original carry was on, or the original carry out was on. So in short, what this is saying is that 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, which is this is 3 in binary. 1 1 is 3 in binary. And maybe I'll do another one. So now the carry in is on still, but only one of the inputs are on. So this bottom one's off, which means this first carry out is going to be off. But this XOR gate's on, which means that the XOR gate and both the carry in are on. So the second AND gate's going to be on, which means I'm going to have a carry out. But the second XOR gate's not going to be on because they're both on. So there's no sum, which means that 1 plus 1 is 2, which is what we'd hope. And I'm not going to go through all, I guess, how many permutations are there of 0 and 1 on 3 different inputs? I'm not going to go through all the possibilities, but I assure you that this does work. But the second question is, how compact can we make this? And that will probably be the topic of the next video, or not the next video, sometime in the future. I can only do this so much because this stuff is painful, especially since you can break redstone. So I don't really want to build any more adder stuff until they fix this redstone breakage issue, because animals keep trampling my redstone and it's absolutely awful. I have to keep fixing it off camera. Yeah, they're really getting in the way. So they make something that's already complicated even more complicated. So let me destroy this. I'm going to destroy this. Okay, that was slightly painful, but now I think we know how to at least build an adder. We just need to make it slightly more compact, and then we're going to fill this area up with an adder. The second that an 8-bit adder, ideally, but that's going to wait until these guys stop trampling all my redstone. Also, by the way, this area here that I cleared out is just over the hill from the mining hut. So if I come up here, you can see the mining hut over there. Okay. Well, I put all my stuff up. Hopefully they'll at least learn something. Maybe they enjoy it. I'm getting pretty tired of these animals because they're ruining my fun with the redstone stuff. But that's okay. That's the nature of old versions of this game. So enjoyable or not, I had fun trying to understand adders, redstone adders at a deeper level. So we're not at the base, so I can't really do my little jumpy thing. But I'll do a crappy one here. I hope y'all at least had some fun, and I'll join you tomorrow on the next quest. Boom. Also, yeah, there's a bug. Look at that. The water particles surrounding me. And it's only an F5, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And it only happens in certain locations. It doesn't happen up here. Weird.